Hi, I'm Jason. I will introduce the first question of the project, which is about identifying the stakeholders and potential negative effects in this game project. So the stakeholders in this game project include final client, Jack Spark, who is the owner of the Power Star company, designers and animators involved in this project. And next thing I want to focus on, there are some negative effects on this project. So the first thing, the game was rejected by ProStar Company 3 times because of the lack of blood, action, and bigger explosion Jack required. The second thing, the game was also rejected by the client due to too much violence and no understandable story and characters. And the third, the requirements of the game was no consistent. The next, designers did what the client doesn't want, and they did wrong things because of the misleading from the Jack Spark. So it was wasting time and the project was delayed. Finally, I think it also wasted the project budget and resources. The company had to pay an extra salary for another 6 months' work.
There were several risks in this approach. First, daily stand-up meetings may not be attended by everyone because they are not used to the agile ways of working. So we must provide training on agile methodology before the project starts. Second, lacking details in task descriptions on Trello. In order to reduce this risk, we must make sure all details are present and clear for the team, so they know exactly what they are creating. The best way to write these out are in the form of user stories or the technical requirements. Software developers might not have got practice in writing these stories, so they need to be trained in how to follow a consistent pattern. Last but not least, sometimes stakeholder priorities or the direction of the project changes, and thus features that were not originally planned take the top priority over the others. When this happens, it's important to make sure the stakeholders understand the impact this will have on the project scope and even the timeline and budget.
As a consultant, we are here to help the designers Jack Spark and the client work together to produce the game within 6 months that everyone is proud of. So, firstly, we have to start off with introducing the project management tool such as Trello to distribute responsibilities. It is a pragmatic solution to handle projects using Agile methodology. There are four key values that should be followed in the Agile methodology. That is a way to communicate with the rest of the team. So number one would be individuals and interactions over processes. Daily stand-up meetings discuss on what the members have completed, what issues were raised, and what will be the team member doing on the current day is very valuable for this individual and interaction. Number two would be working software over comprehensive documentation. 2 week scrum to finalize on the development, feedback, and close the particular development process to move on to the next step. It's rather than having a big documentation, it's necessary to be proactive on development. Number three would be customer collaboration over contract. So having a meeting and minutes prepared for the client meeting and taking the approval from the client and the development of the game is important over the contract negotiation on the price and also the time limitations. And next would be responding to change over following a plan. That would be to receive feedback and close the chapter once the approval of the client has been received. So there are few things that are wrong and unstable in the Agile methodology. There are few steps that we should not be taking, that are to hide backlog. It is important to simplify the tasks by minimizing the visibility of tasks and ignoring the clients. Communication is the key here to satisfy the client requirement through early and continuous delivery. Face-to-face meetings are deemed as most effective and efficient method to succeed.
So this slide talks about the measurements of success when using the agile ways of working. The first one we identified was lean metrics, and the common ones include lead time and cycle time. Lead time is defined as the time between the initiation and the completion of a production process. So in daily standards, these lead times and these metrics, lead times, cycle time, cumulative flow, should be discussed, and uh, the progress should be tracked in order to work in an agile atmosphere. The second one is Kanban metrics, which focuses on the workflow, organizing, and prioritizing work. And the common metric here is cumulative flow, which shows the given state, showing arrivals of the task coming in, and meanwhile also showing the tasks that were created, time in queue, how long they have been in the queue, and so on and so forth. This is a very good way of tracking the tasks that have already been done, and the photo in the slide also is an example of a cumulative flow. The next one is Scrum Metrics, which focuses on predictable delivery of working softwares to customers. Common metrics here is the burn down chart and team velocity. The velocity uh, chart is defined by the amount of story points completed per iteration. It helps the client keep track of where the software is at the moment. This slide talks about the positive impact on customer life cycle. Customer satisfaction is always the highest priority and is achieved through rapid and continuous delivery. Continuous delivery is another good phrase to explain agile, as my colleagues have mentioned that it is an iterative process. So using this process will help a product or service to be delivered with higher frequency. Stakeholders and developers will collaborate closely on a daily basis, and this will enable face-to-face meetings and the discussion around where the project is at the moment, and brainstorm where the blockers are. So this provides a lot of value, and all stakeholders and team members remain motivated for optimal project outcomes, while teams are provided with all the necessary tools and support and are trusted to accomplish the project goals.